Kylo Miami King. Fire Josh Gattis, 3 games without a touchdown.
It's 9 quarters and 4 overtimes, to be perfectly honest. It's 9.5 quarters. Sorry. 9.5 quarters and 4 overtimes, to be honest about it. If you want to make those 4 overtimes into the third game, fine. There's so much going on, man, that I'm not there.
Yeah.
There's so much. I mean, like, again, if you look at any, and I gave you 3 or 4 different video reviews to go look at, man, there have been touchdown plays that have not been made. Because one dude, not doing his job. The right guard misses a tackle or misses a block. You're running a wheel route with Jalen Knighton, behind a post. So the post takes up both defenders. Wheel route is wide, butt naked open, but he doesn't have a chance to even look over there because quarterback's on the ground because the guy misses block on a touchdown play call. A touchdown play call, man. There's a lot going on, and it's really hard when your offensive line is as depleted, making it as bad as ours is currently, to find the ability to find the end zone and score points. That's really asking a lot. And I'm not there with it, but this is a historic kind of failing in terms of offense, regardless of injury or not. So, yeah.
I will always correct myself when I made a mistake. I don't know where I was going with Dennis Erickson. Of course, he was with the Seahawks, and that's where I was remembering him from. I don't remember him coaching the Niners for 2 seasons. That must have been right.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 coaches before Harbaugh. That wouldn't have been right into Harbaugh 03, 04. Anyway, the string of 8 and 8 seasons with Seattle.
I mean, hey, there have been plenty of coaches who have done less in the NFL than 8 and 8. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that was my point.
Yeah.
Falcon Rex, an average coach could win at the U in 2001 and 2. We don't have the players right now to win a natty.
I mean, that's crazy because we have a 60% blue chip ratio on the roster. One of only, I think, 13 or 14 teams across the sport that have higher than 50%, which is the floor of talent on the roster you need to be able to be successful. And yeah, sorry, Kylo Ren. Yes, it is 3 games. It is not 3 consecutive games. I always forget that. So yes, there was a Texas A&M game also in which Miami did not score a touchdown in a low-scoring defensive game. I was talking consecutively. Currently, it is 9.5 quarters and 4 overtimes. But that is correct. There is another additional game this year. And I mean, yeah, that really, I think Miami could have gone for a touchdown on one of those field goal drives, but went the conservative route. Not saying that they would have gotten it, but I think, they were inside the 5, if I remember back to September. And that was something that could have been done, but decided against it. But yeah, I mean, this week, Miami didn't get closer than, I don't know. Let's go look. The FSU 29. So we kicked a field goal from the 30 on the first drive, and then the second drive of the third quarter, of which there were only 2, Miami got to the FSU 29 after a 12-play, 68-yard drive, which ended in a fumble. So, yeah, it was left a lot to be desired, obviously, but it wasn't even like Miami was. I mean, that means Miami did not get into the red zone last week or the last weekend and everything. So that one is maybe more indicative of the point that you're making about the failing of the offense. But in the Texas A&M game, I know that we got into the red zone inside the 10, inside the 5 multiple times. Just weren't able to cash it in. Either way, you are correct. Miami has not scored touchdowns in 3 of the 9 games this year. And has given up 45 points to the opposition thrice this year as well, after having only done so twice in the last 6 seasons combined. So, yeah.
Who is your best Miami head coach since you went to school?
I was a freshman in 2000, so the last year of Butch. I was walking with my friend Matt Carter, who was on the team. Then he's backup punter. He holder for extra points and field goals. He took over the number 11 jersey after Ken Dorsey left. He famously rolled to his left and had that fake field goal throw at Virginia Tech in 03 that was dropped by Kevin Everett in the end zone. I was walking to class with him because he was an education major as well. But it was my freshman year. Like I think I was going to Spanish and he was going somewhere else. And like I was literally walking with him when you saw the GAs and the student assistants sprinting across all the different quads to grab the football players to go to the meeting of Butch telling them that he was going to the Browns. So that's a fun fact and a fun story and a true story for you. That being said, so Butch was there my freshman year. I mean, in performance, it was Coker, but like, not really. You know what I mean? Like, he won the championship, but he was the figurehead more than anything. And look, I think he's a better coach than he was given credit for, but also when you are being held to the level of the greatest college football team of all time, like, that's a high bar to keep going, especially even if you're a little bit under that. Randy Shannon was a mess, but he had that 2008 recruiting class with Ja'Cory Harris and all them boys from the West. But it never got better than that. Al Golden was good to reset a foundation, but you know, he had a major fatal flaw, which was employing Mark D'Onofrio and not at all choosing, the path of righteousness to get rid of him. So that was bad. Mark Richt. I would probably have to say Mark Richt. Mark Richt was consistently himself, even though it wasn't as great as you might have wanted, but he was getting towards the end of his career. But he was a guy who knew what being a big-time coach was. He knew what was needed, and it was definitely not on-the-job training. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to figure this out as we go. He was like, no, like, I've done this. This is what we're going to do. Even though, yeah, Georgia did ask him to leave. He was still just a consummate professional about it. Until he, like Al Golden, had a fatal flaw, which was employing his son at quarterback's coach and, being play caller himself, and refusing to do the work that needed to be done to rectify those situations. So then he left. Manny Diaz was vibes. I mean, he's such a player's coach. Like, they love that guy, man. Like, even from when Rick was here and the turnover chain and everything, like, I mean, just big vibes. But he on the job training, it's OJT, that 12th grader who's going to go work at McDonald's to find out how business works, for the last 2 hours every day to get that, training. So eventually when they get a, business degree in MBA, they understand it from the inside. That's kind of what it was. And yeah. And then Cristobal, I think Cristobal has the ability. I think he has the knowledge. It just takes, for what he wants to do, is going to take time. So I would have to say Mark Richt was probably the best / my favorite Miami coach since I was a freshman in 2000. Butch Davis notwithstanding, because like he was only there for a year and Larry Coker won with his players, but whatever still.
And certainly the best coach if you put his entire career together.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Spanish in 04 with Greg Olson, yeah, nice.
Very cool.